So far, we've looked at 4 tabs of the 8 tabs, so now let's look at metering. It seems to me that you'd want the same type of meter on your tracks as you use on your master. So I would check this box. But if you do want different choices, uncheck the box and you can choose different types here. On the right side of this page, you can set the parameters for the type that you choose. The color break is where it turns from green to yellow to red. You can now customize that. In the lower left, I like peak 3 seconds and clip infinite. If I looked away and missed the event that caused clipping, I want Pro Tools to tell me and make me acknowledge it. Jump to processing. For import, I would recommend turning on the broadcast wave option and the copy files option. If you work with the sound effect from another session, you could just add it to your session without actually copying it in. But then it's not in the audio files folder for your session. Keep the audio files for your session with your session document. I think it's a good habit. At the bottom here is sample rate conversion quality. There are 5 choices. I like Tweakhead. I'd call this the platinum setting. On the right side, you can choose your default time compression plugin, like we saw EQ a minute ago. And this is the one that will get used when you use the TCE trimmer. You can dig deeper and choose the algorithm. And you have a list of pull-ups and pull-downs here that will make sense if you're a video editor, switching between formats. Then you can choose the default setting, we call it an algorithm, for the Elastic Audio plugin. We'll talk about these choices more when we cover Elastic Audio. Now, Elastic is turned off on new tracks by default. If you want it on every single track all the time, whether you're going to need it or not, you can check this box. 2 more pages. MIDI. The second item down is tap tempo. I'll turn this on and we'll put it to work later when we're editing library music. Wait for note is handy. If you're psyching yourself up to play a part, it'll sit and mark time until you start playing by touching a key. If you want Pro Tools to automatically give you a click track in your session, it will do that. Some of you will be doing announcing and sound effects and never want to click tracks. Some will be doing music and want it all the time. Now we have the choice. The default through instrument, I would choose the first selected MIDI track. If you're not routing your MIDI to something, then it's harder to know when it's hooked up properly. Double-clicking a MIDI clip opens. You have some choices here. You can edit it in the score editor, in the event list. I like the event list, but I think I like the editor a little bit more. So we'll keep the default preference there. If your keyboard is giving you notes that are an octave too high or too low, you can change that here. And last is synchronization. Most of the people in a project environment are not going to need this. You'd use this if Pro Tools is synced to an external machine like a tape machine. Most of the time, Pro Tools will be the master, and the devices, like the automation on a mixing board, will slave to Pro Tools. One last thing about preferences. Cancel out of this. Hide Pro Tools. Go to the Finder. In the Go menu, my library is not showing as a choice right now. If I hold down the Option key on a Mac, the library becomes a choice. Here are my preferences. Scrolling up to the top, I can see that Avid has its own folder, and there are the Pro Tools preferences. Down in the Avid list, there is the avid.protools.plist preferences. When Pro Tools misbehaves, this is usually where we try and go to fix things. You can trash your Pro Tools preferences. I would start by trashing this, the Avid Pro Tools plist. If that doesn't work, try trashing your Pro Tools preferences and see if you can get Pro Tools to behave again. So that's a look at preferences, which is one of the most powerful ways to customize Pro Tools.